Hey guys, Gus here, coming at you with another video, and today we're going to be talking about the International Space Station and the resupply mission from SpaceX. It's going to be the last mission of 2021. I'm so excited. There are some major experiments and instruments that are going to be sent. Even though Christmas is a couple of days away, I'm sure the Crew 3 Dragon would love to have some really good gifts. Unfortunately, they're not going to be getting gifts. They're going to be getting experiments. Let's go check it out. The bioprinting machine is a really cool science experiment. It's a handheld device. It's a study by the German Space Agency that takes the patient's skin cells and creates a tissue to go over wounds, and it speeds up the process of healing. It's almost like the 3D printer uses plastics to create an object. This uses skin cells to heal you. How cool is that? The Center for Advancement in Science and Space, the CASIS experiment. That's going to be a very important experiment when it comes to medicine. What this experiment does is it pretty much gets a magnifying glass into pills in the crystals itself. It studies the protein that is in the chemicals, which will eliminate side effects. These experiments for these medicines can only be done in the microgravity of space. Our atmosphere does not allow us to do these experiments. It will go so far into these medicines, it zooms in so much that it's almost like watching a TV that's not 4K. And if you're watching a hockey game, you can see the players and you can see the sticks, but you don't necessarily see the puck. With this experiment, we're gonna get so far into the medication itself that it'll be just like watching a hockey game in 4K. The host pathogen is also a very important experiment. If we're going to be traveling from planet to planet or even the moon, we need to be studying how these microbes work inside the human body. As you know, viruses can spread, and the spread of these viruses is a real threat to the humans that are traveling to the moon. We need to understand the fingerprint of how these viruses work up in space. The MVP plant experiment, that one's going to be another cool one. What that's going to teach us is by changing the orientation of the seed that's growing up in space of a plant, we're going to be able to see transparently, almost like a hydroponics, of how the seeds, the roots grow from the seeds and how the plant grows. By changing the orientation, would we be able to see the changes of the root formation that happens for each and every plant? That's going to be awesome to see. The PG Tide experiment. NASA's been trying to work on doing laundry up in space for years. The way that they're doing it now is not very efficient and is not very effective. From what astronauts say, the International Space Station smells like burnt steak and underwear. And I tell you what, that doesn't sound very good to me. Tide is the one sponsoring this experiment. And who knows fabrics best? The turbine SCM experiment is very important. Almost like carbon fiber was developed in space to make things so much lighter, this experiment is going to work on metals to lessen the heat of what the metals can withstand. This is very important for space travel. We're making these engines running extremely hot, and on a spacecraft we have to carry more coolant to try to cool these engines. If we can somehow create a metal that doesn't get that hot, that's less coolant that we can take with us, which will make space travel way more efficient. The Spock program, and I'm not talking about this guy, is the opportunity for young individuals that are in a higher learning, like Columbia University, to really get us back into the Artemis program. The Artemis program focuses on going back to the moon and taking us to the International Space Station. Without these students learning physics, science, and engineering, there's a lot of stuff that we wouldn't be able to do. Can you imagine working on these experiments that'll get us back to the moon, just like they did in the 50s and 60s? These are just a few of the important experiments that are going to be going on in the orbiting laboratory of the International Space Station, all working towards the future of space exploration. So, just like I will be staying at the Holiday Inn for the weekend, none of these experiments are going to help me. But if you're traveling for the holidays and Christmas is right around the corner, I wish you a great trip, safe travels, and look up and think of your space.